What's going on, everybody? Once again, this is Ronald Tracy Robinson, 1/3 of Political Bombcast. I'm a member of the Libertarian Party of Duval County. What we're doing out here, we're out here at the Melanin Market at 822 A. Philip Randolph. We're interviewing people who have something in their heart that they want to express to the community in Jacksonville, Florida. Now, ma'am, you told me just a couple minutes ago you have this wonderful nonprofit organization that you've just been approved of. Please introduce yourself and tell us what the organization is about.
Sure. My name is Denise Cook, and my organization is Warriors of Fire. And what that organization is about is bringing back sustainable communities by helping families grow together. Young people grow together. There's some basic, things that we neglect in our urban core. The skills to interview, the skills to fill out a resume, the skills to get a job. We expect people to take a bus for 2 hours for a $12 an hour job, and that's just not the way things are going to ever thrive. We need to put economics back into those communities, but we also need to help bring the family back together. So my organization, that's part of it, and that's a huge part of it. I want to have resource hubs within the organization so that we can reach all areas of our city. It's a big city. Mm-hmm. And then the other part of it is a civil engagement part, Red Alliance for Justice, where we spend a lot of time using and attending city council meetings, trying to utilize our political government to do the right thing. We have laws on the books right now about the Neighborhood Bill of Rights to protect citizens in regards to the what do you call it? The city council meetings. I mean, it's so that we can attend and so we can be part of it. So the budget isn't a secret.
So we can have access to affordable housing. Right. Property tax exemptions, right, or things of that nature.
So, and we want remedies for redlining. Redlining impacted 32209, 32207, 32210. These were thriving communities. There's no reason for them not to be thriving communities. And, we need that before they're all bought up. We've got development that's getting ready to come in to the east side because of UF purchase. We have to be part of that or be left behind and be pushed out. And that's not, I don't want that to happen. And, like we were just talking, if we ask each other the questions and we talk to each other, then we learn. It may not be that we agree ever, but we learn and we can be more accepting, or we can be more in line and understanding. Or we might find that we're exactly the same.
Exactly.
And so, my goal is to never end this in violence, and I don't want it to end in violence. I don't ever want to have to choose a side. I don't ever want to, I want to be able to do what's right for people.
Absolutely, because none of these things are worth taking another human life. We're a part of a government where they feel as if they have to go to fund proxy wars all overseas and expand their empirical military reach across other nations just so they can get a point across. And in the meantime, men, women, and children have been casualties of this war that, because of the appropriation of our tax dollars, we became financially complicit towards. Now, I want to ask a question as far as you mentioned family units and building families in Jacksonville, Florida. Do you believe that the federal government, by way of putting in so many interest groups as far as feminism or men's rights, things of that nature, do you believe that these things are what separated men and women from building families together, instead of saying we're going to transcend this issue so that we can build capital on our own? Because after all, we do need each other.
I absolutely think that has hurt our family. I'm not saying that it has to be necessarily one man, one woman, but there is a biblical design, and I'm not going to get into all that.
Right. It's just as far as the government separating us from each other and saying, like, for example, how they say men ain't shit, we don't need them for anything, or how in previous generations, we had the advent of gangster rap, things of that nature, saying that women ain't shit, we don't need them to do this and the stuff. Instead,
we should be partners. Yeah. We should be partners working together to make the best life we can for our next generation. Mm-hmm. we complement each other. People complement each other, and that's why you're drawn to certain people. It's not because they're exactly like you. It's because you need to be able to work together. I think our government intentionally lets all of these special interest groups have the way and expect us to be more and more tolerant of the differences, why we move further away from the true minorities of our country, African Americans, blacks, ADOS, rather than focusing on that, if we splinter off, and then people are able to do that. My son is 23, and it's such a hard age for him because he's of that generation where young women are like, I don't need a man, I don't want a man telling me what to do, I don't want a man to do this, I don't want a man to do that. And he's just like, I don't know what to do.
It's hard for us in the dating market out here.
Right.
Thanks to the federal government and feminism.
I agree. And feminism, yes, I believe there should be rights for all. We're not equal. We are men and women. We have differences. That's what I mean by not equal. I can work, I can support,
Absolutely.
I can do a lot of different things. We're good multitaskers, but it doesn't mean that in the end I don't want to have someone to compliment me and strengthen me and help me and boost me.
And even if it's not one man and one woman, we have our brothers and sisters in the LGBTQ crowd that want to start families. They want to marry each other. They want to have their own household. They want to do these things, and that's completely fine because we believe here at Political Bombcast. Well, let me not say everybody in Political Bombcast, but me as Ron Teresa Robinson, Libertarian Party of Duval County, I definitely believe as a libertarian, everybody has the right to self-determination and what they want to do within their own life. Now, the final question is, do you believe that with everything that we have just said, do you believe the federal government should do away with trying to give benefits to this group at the expense of the others, give this benefit to this group at the expense of everybody else? Do you think they should stop doing that and just let the people make the decisions for themselves? Or do you see a value in government helping out different communities in that way?
So that's a tough question, really, because I've been on both sides of the spectrum with a single mom that needed help to raise her children, but I've also seen somebody that makes $10 an hour not qualified because they make a little too much money. Right. So I think the government has a place, and I think the government has spent a lot of money to try to make reparations and to make amends, or whatever word you want to say it, but I think a lot of times the government puts a Band-Aid on it and doesn't really cure the infection. So, and if that Band-Aid comes off, it's even a worse scenario. So I think the government can aid, but somebody needs to govern the government, and there needs to be a check and balance. Just like in Duval County, we have plenty of nonprofits.
Yes.
32209 has hundreds of nonprofits, but are we seeing a tangible difference?
Absolutely.
And if we're not seeing a tangible difference, and we should have people work together. So I don't think government interjecting is the answer. I do think on some means there has to be some reparations to level the playing field and start over, but it doesn't necessarily mean money. It could be land, it could be education, it could be training, it could be tax exemption. There's a lot of different things that come under that umbrella, but I think but that's a very specific ask for a very specific group of people, not the masses. And I think government has to back off a little bit. We can't keep saying, oh, you need to do this for us, you need to do this for us. We need to come together collectively and work harder.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely together. And I think you've explained that pretty beautifully about the fact that people are very different. Every community has their own needs and their own wants. And having the government say, we're going to put a one-size-fits-all solution to your issues is going to make everything okay. When, as we can see throughout its history, that has not been the correct answer. I know I said it was going to be the final question, but one more question, because it has to do with the family as well. With Jacksonville's debt being upwards of $3 billion, and the fact that our tax burden individually as citizens of Jacksonville is we take on a tax burden of $10,200 each in order to pay it off. Do you believe that has an effect on the upper mobility of the family unit in Jacksonville?
I think it does impact a percentage of the family unit in Jacksonville. You know, our dollars don't go as far as they should because we're spending them in different ways on taxes, on the inflation, on the gas, on the sin taxes, on the, what are we going to do? I'm not saying I'm for or against the new stadium. I personally, my company that I work for benefits from the work that's being done. But, so I see that part of it, but at what cost is it to each person individually? So that's something I'd really have to understand more. But I do think the taxes do limit, and I think you see all the time houses where people pass away and then they lose that home because of taxes, because people don't understand taxes, don't understand the homeowner's taxes, don't understand how to work around that. So I think I'm more of I think a flat tax is a better policy than a percentage anyway.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Miss Denise, for this wonderful interview. It's been good. I see Anthony came back. Good to have you again, brother. Yes, indeed. And my name is Brown Tracy Robinson. I am 1/3 of Political Bombcast. This is the Libertarian Party of Duval County speaking from this angle. D.L. Cummings, the chairman, is behind the camera. We're the Lines for Justice, Anthony Brown, and Miss Denise, thank you for your organization, Warriors of Fire. I'm looking forward to the development of that. It's going to be wonderful. She's going to do wonderful things in our community. This is Political Bombcast, signing off.